Coleridge is one of these poets who had this life that has become kind of like the stereotype almost of the romantic artist. He had this very tumultuous life. And so, because his life was a very turbulent one full of drug abuse, there is a lot of weather imagery that we come across here in this volume, which is apt. Coleridge's work moves between high vision and a kind of more ordinary doubt, and this book places him at that kind of intersection, watches how a mind handles intensity and recovery. So if we look at Night Storms, which is an early poem in the piece, and also the title of the first section of the book. Tremors shook me, night consumed me, under the sweat and tear-torn sheets. In the e'en blank opaque rage, hideous distortions arrayed, muzzy fears, ne'er to be allayed. Yea, didst they o'ertake me, making me their crazed slave, incoherent cherub, at once slack-jawed, addled, and hopelessly depraved. In that ambient hour, where the line 'tis no more, visions howl searing lips. Black-crusted omens cursing me, nostalgic hobos, their eerie apocalyptic strange shrieking, heard rattling e'en Dramon's ears. 'Tis this a phantom's delusive cry, 'neath cambric threads dressing life. Bed, the truth doth oft reside. So if we look at the bottom of the poem, we see that there is a footnote here about how Coleridge had night terrors throughout his life, in which he would see monsters chasing him and wake soaked in sweat and screaming in horror. And one thing I like about these volumes is their scholarly approach. Each volume has an introduction placing the figure in their context, and poems are often accompanied by footnotes that explain some aspect of the poet's biography. And here I need to stop and say a word on Liji's literary voice. You probably noticed it when I was reading that her style is this unique blend of the modern and the traditional. She will mix archaisms, tis, or, ne'er, with more modern turns of phrase. And it can be jarring sometimes, which is intentional. Usually you will encounter archaic diction in the work of amateur poets who are trying to imitate Shakespeare, but they don't really know what they're doing. Now, she's able to get away with the archaic language because her subjects are historical ones. These are people who lived, 200 years ago. And so you get language that feels ceremonial, but still alive, a bit like a period drama with a present-day heartbeat, if that makes sense. So here in this poem, we have a few archaisms mixed with that unusual word towards the end, cambric threads. Her use of unusual diction is tightly controlled. She doesn't throw a lot of obscure words around all over the place. Once or twice in a poem is enough to get the sense across.